Hi, good afternoon, and thanks for sticking around. I'm Adam Lundin, and the CEO of Filo Mining. Here's a quick snapshot of our company portfolio profile. We're a South American mineral exploration and development company. We're domiciled on the TSXV, and we have a secondary listing in Sweden. Shares outstanding right now, 72.6 million. The goal here is to keep this as low as possible prior to being in production. Our market capitalization as of today is roughly 160 million Canadian. We just released a pre-feasibility study, which gave us a net present value using an 8% discount of 1.3 billion US. So we roughly trade at 0.1 times a pre-feasibility study. We're also a Lundin Group company. My family holds roughly 31% of the outstanding shares today, and what's different from last year this time is we've gone from 22% to 31%. So we did a raise at 260, we're trading at 220. We see that as a cheap valuation, so we continue to buy shares today. And also, I'll explain in the coming slides, why we're in Argentina and Chile and how we got here today. This slide just shows a few of the historical winners the Lundin Group has had. What I've highlighted in green here is two success stories that happened in the same province, San Juan in Argentina, where my project's located today, and which were both in Argentina. So you see Argentina Gold, which was the Valadero discovery our team made, which we had to fend off a hostile bid from Barrick, and then we agreed to terms with Homestake Mining, which eventually Homestake got taken out by Barrick for the Valadero deposit. That's still in production today, and Barrick just sold 50% to the Chinese for $1 billion. The first success story in Argentina was actually International Musto, which is Baja de Alhambra. We sold our interest to Rio Algam, which is BHP today. And on the backs of that success, we used the same team. We said, okay, we've done it once, we've done it twice, let's go ahead and do it 3 times. So we went out and staked the ground, which became Filo. Here's Filo del Sol, and as I mentioned earlier, we straddle the border of Argentina and Chile. The border of the Andes is defined by the watershed. And so everything on this back side here is Chile, everything on the front side here is Argentina. Like I mentioned, past success stories have been in the San Juan province of Argentina, and that's where we'll put all our infrastructure. Everything will come on this side. And today we're just focused on the top portion of our deposit. You have a gold oxide daylighting at surface. Our copper gold zone, again, is daylighting here, so you see some of our copper outcropping, and then we have a silver zone underneath us. And also what's important to mention is at depth, we get into sulfide-type mineralization, which it makes it into our resource, but wasn't included in our pre-feasibility study. What we're focused on today is this oxide portion of our deposit. It's our leachable cap. We'll be going ahead with a heap leach project, like outlined in our pre-feasibility study, and then we view that as our starter mine. Everything underneath we view as our growth asset. And again, 10% of our resource here sits in Chile. This is part of our gold oxide zone, and then everything else is in Argentina. This map, I'm sure some of you guys are seeing it for the first time today, but it really speaks volumes to me. I'm not sure you can make out this white line. I barely see it myself, but this is what splits the border here. And so as you see, in Chile, all these little X's here are producing mines. So what our team did is we made the Valadero discovery, which I believe is just down here, and we said, okay, what should we do next? And so we went and said, okay, here we have the Maricunga belt to the north and the El Indio belt to the south, but what's going on in between? No one has made any discoveries around here, so what we did is we went and staked a big land package, and our team made 3 significant discoveries: Jose Maria, Los Helados, which remain in NGX Resources, and Filo del Sol. We spun Filo del Sol out in August of 2016 to shareholders. So for every 4 shares you had in NGX, you got 1 share of Filo Mining. So it was a dividend to shareholders that continues to grow today. We spun it out with a $50 million market cap, and today it's a $160 million market cap. And also, you see the big infrastructure buildup from all the mines being on the Chilean side. But, what happens with that is it requires a lot of power and a lot of water. And so all the local aquifers are being sucked dry. So now in Chile, you have to build a desalination plant, and those can cost you up to $1 billion. But the beauty of straddling the border, of being in Chile, I can access power, is where my power will come from. And then being in Argentina, you're still allowed to pull groundwater from your local aquifers. So I won't have to build $1 billion desalination plant. I'll be able to pull my water from my local aquifer. We just released a pre-feasibility study a week ago. We're very encouraged by the results. I didn't get a share price reaction, but I've been assured that flat is the new up. So quite happy with that then. I'll just run through the numbers quite quickly. You see our pre-tax NPV sitting at 1.86 billion. More focus on the after-tax NPV. You have 1.28 billion and a 23% IRR. Our payback period is 3.4 years. The metal prices we assumed were the same we used in our PEA, $3 copper, $1,300 gold, and $20 silver. Our initial CapEx was 1.27 billion with 217 million of sustaining capital. Our C1 cash cost is $1.23 copper equivalent. When we use our copper equivalent number, that's using our recovery numbers here. So we're not assuming that we're recovering 100% of our metals. You see in our recovery numbers, which are quite robust, and these numbers haven't been flexed, we've actually derated these numbers by 3% and 4%. So you see 80% recoveries on copper, 70% on gold, and 82% on silver. We've been very pleased with our metallurgical test work on the silver. Any material we have that has over 9 grams a ton in it, we've been averaging over 90% recoveries. And right here it says a 14-year mine life. That includes pre-stripping, 1 year of remaining leach. It's really a 12-year mine life, and in that 12 years, we'll produce 67,000 tons of copper per annum, just below 160,000 ounces of gold per annum, and 8.6 million ounces of silver. As you see, this profile for each metal is enough to support a small-scale mine. What's important to highlight here is we view being able to stream one of our co-byproducts, gold or silver, to help pay for the capex of our mine. We think that gives us a big advantage and will not require us to dilute our shareholders so heavily. What's nice about going into a pre-feasibility study and completing it is at the end of it you get reserves. So this is our first time having reserves. And you see 2.2 billion pounds of copper, 2.7 million ounces of gold, and 126 million ounces of silver. This is a little complicated. Just to talk about our process, I thought I'd slide this in there. And so what's unique about our deposit is that all 3 metals are leachable. And so the way we're going to do it is if you think of it as we have a gold oxide, a copper gold oxide, and then a silver zone. So we're going to send all our material to our copper pad. We have traces of copper in all our metals. And so we'll leach out the copper with acid, and then we'll neutralize with lime and send that ore to the dedicated precious metals pad. We'll be producing a cathode and a silver and gold doré. Again, this just shows our production profiles. We were able to smooth them out. They were a little lumpy in the preliminary economic assessment. In the pre-feasibility study, we were able to smooth out the copper production, and we were able to smooth out the gold production. Again, this averages 67,000 tons of copper per year and 160,000 ounces of gold per year. The silvers we weren't able to smooth out because this is dictated by these high-grade pockets of silver you have, and so you get some years where you're producing only over 20 million ounces of silver. The next steps, quite excited. I just returned from Chile yesterday, or Chile and Argentina. I was in both countries. I just returned yesterday. We've embarked on an exciting exploration program. I'm just going to move back here, where we know something, put this oxide cap in place. And in a lot of our holes, we've only drilled down to 500 meters, and it's all ending in porphyry-type mineralization. So we believe that a copper-gold porphyry system is at depth here. And so we have 3 rigs turning, all targeting this porphyry. If we hit, we believe this will be a game changer for the project and significantly increase the mine life. 2019, next steps, complete our exploration drilling. We should get those results back in April. We've identified and we've drilled our water source. We're just going to test to see the flow rates. We'll keep going with our environmental studies to collect the baseline data. So when we're completing our bankable feasibility study, we'll be in a position where we can file our EIA. And after our exploration, we expect to put a resource update in August. And then if we have tremendous success in the exploration program, it could really change the project. So if we hit a copper-gold porphyry system at depth, maybe we reincorporate that and we redo our pre-feasibility study. If we identify a copper-gold porphyry system at depth and it's uneconomic, we'll just go straight forward and put what we did in the pre-feasibility study into a bankable feasibility study. So by the end of that, we'll be in a position to start construction. Here's the management team today. Myself, Jamie Beck is our Vice President of Corporate Development and Projects. He led our pre-feasibility study as he led our PEA. Bob Carmichael, VP Exploration. Julie Kemps, our Corporate Secretary. And Jeff Yip is our CFO. And also Wojtek Budzinski, who's CEO of NGX, is a technical advisor. And then the board, I'm very pleased to have a strong board. I look to them for guidance, and they've supported me along the way. I have my father, Lucas, who went down into Argentina and negotiated the Baja de Alibera deal, put the team together to find Valadero, so has good experience in Argentina. We have Paul McRae. He just recently retired from Lundin Mining. He was head of projects, has a construction background. We have Pablo Mir, who is a leading law firm in Chile. Alessandro Batelli, he used to be CFO of Redback Mining, which was sold to Kinross. He's now the CFO of Lundin Gold. Wojtek, I mentioned earlier. Ashley Heppenstall was retired as CEO of Lundin Petroleum 4 years ago. He raised $50 million in equity and created the largest independent E&P company in Europe. And that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions.